Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. So excuse the fresh wash hair, but today we're going to be doing something very exciting. So I've seen this floating around a lot on BookTube, and it is the spinner wheel choosing how many pages I read every day for a week challenge. Basically you get a spinner wheel, input a amount of pages, and then it randomizes and then it picks out how many pages you're going to be reading every single day. So I'm going to set up my spinner wheel. I'm going to do it everything from 100 to 500 and the 50s in between, and then we're going to spin and try and read that amount of pages in a day for a week. Hopefully have lots of reading done, lots of discussions on books, etc, etc. So grab yourself your most warming hot drink, a cozy blanket, and let's get to hopefully reading some pages. Okay, so the spin wheel is all set up and let's go and spin the wheel. I'm so nervous. I'm really nervous actually. I don't know why. Oh my goodness, it nearly landed on 500. So 150 pages is the winner, and that is quite a good amount of pages for the first day, I think. So I'm gonna finish off reading my current read, in which is Ⴍᴘᴇ Christie. I do not have long left to go on this one, probably not even 150 pages, but this is what I'm going to start the 150 pages for today. And yeah, get to reading. So I'll update you on my thoughts of this one and my progress through the amount of pages read. So let's get to it, my friends. So it's only a couple of hours later. I've gotten changed because it's absolutely boiling today, but I have finished ⴍᴘᴇ Christie. Now I'm going to rate it in my mediocre tier because it didn't quite work for me. I don't know if it's because obviously it's short stories and that's not the book's fault because I knew that going in. But I just find that some of the detectives, like for example Harley Quinn, I didn't enjoy. Parker Payne, I didn't enjoy. I enjoyed the Priory ones, and the Miss Marple ones were okay, but I found because they have that kind of like really well-renowned explanation piece at the end as to how it happened and like what happened and put together, especially Miss Marple, it didn't quite work necessarily in short story format because I was kind of used to the longer novels, but perhaps it's just something that I need to get used to. But I feel like all in all, I think mediocre works because there are a few short stories I liked in here, a few I didn't too much. I wish it kind of mentioned London in itself a little bit more because I feel like that's the one thing missing from this. A lot of them were set in London, but I feel as though I would have preferred to known more about London in this time and London in these story settings, but again, I understand because it's short stories. So I would recommend it if you are kind of wanting a taste for the different detective Agatha Christie but not wanting to pick up a full novel of them. But I wouldn't base your thoughts on them finally, and not all of these are murder mysteries as well, just to make that clear. So yes, sadly not 100% in love with this one, but it's gonna join my Agatha Christie selection behind me. So that is 150 pages I need to read today. That was 34 pages, so that, if my calculations are correct, means I need to read 116 more pages today. I'm making my way through The Lamb. I am 141 pages through this one. I put this one down because I picked up ⴍᴘᴇ Christie at my local independent bookshop at the weekend, and I really wanted to read it because I was craving Agatha Christie. But that's not a disservice to this book because I am enjoying it. It's just quite a lot. It's quite grotesque and very heavy in its kind of themes, I suppose. But yeah, so I'm about halfway through, I would say. So 141 pages, and if I have to read 116 pages, then I definitely have 116 more pages left in this book before I would finish it. So I think I might proceed with this one because I don't necessarily want to pick up a brand new story. I don't really know what I'm in the mood for, so I think I'm just gonna go with this one. And yeah, I'll update you on my thoughts as I progress. Also going to cycle over to my dad's later, so I don't have like all day to read because my grandparents are going to my dad's house. And I got a new electric bike, which I will eventually show you. I absolutely love it. It's a kind of like a bluey style with a basket on the front, and it's absolutely perfect because I can't drive at the minute because I am having seizures, which are being investigated into. So yeah, this is a great way for me to kind of gain some independence, and eventually I'll show you it because I definitely want to get more confident on the bike, and because I live on an island, I feel like the island is kind of like semi-built for cyclists. So fingers crossed I get to show you eventually my bike and some cycling routes. But yeah, I thought I'd just kind of like make it clear if it jumps timeline a little bit here. That's my plans today. I have just completed the lamb, in which means that I am ahead actually of my page count goal, because I needed to read up to page 294 and I ended up reading up to over 300, but I'm not gonna carry on pages like to the next day because I feel like that somewhat defeats the object, but I might regret saying that. So yes, anyway, I have finished this book and my goodness, what a ride this was. It was full of so many themes. It was grotesque and it was disgusting. It had cannibalism in here, it had a mother's love and a daughter's bond, and then what happens when something else comes into that, external forces, and the fine difference between love and abuse, and how that's normalized in the story, how true love can be felt in true kind of depth with her relationship with the bus driver and care, and how that is like a foreign thing to her, but even after things have happened she realizes what that truly means for her. The ending of this book had my jaw on the floor. It was just so shocking, and the way that it ended, I kind of give kudos to the author for doing it, because I feel like it could have been so easy to have given this like a happily ever after, which I suppose that's kind of spoilers because this wasn't a happily ever after, but I suppose that can kind of go in any sort of direction, so it's not direct spoilers. But yeah, this was just such a wild ride, so gripping but so disgusting and grotesque, and oh, but so many hidden meanings and gems woven into this book. So I highly recommend it. As long as you can kind of stomach a little bit of gruesomeness and a little bit of gore, then I recommended this one certainly, because it was just so phenomenally done. But like I say, the themes in there were a little bit hard to swallow sometimes. So yeah, that is the next book read. So then I will be spinning the wheel tomorrow morning to see what our page count for the day is then. But for now, that is my little review of The Lamb. Friends, and welcome back to the next day. It is a rainy spring day today, so it's quite dark, so I hope that the lighting is okay. But obviously I completed my page count for yesterday, which was 150 pages. Last night I started reading Parasol Against the Axe, and I am currently 12 pages into this one, and we are going to spin the wheel for this day's challenge of reading pages. So let me record my screen and let's spin the wheel. I'm so nervous. Oh my gosh. Again? Okay, so 150 pages, that's fine. I'm happy with that again. So let's get to reading 150 pages for Tuesday. So being honest, I have only read a handful of pages of Parasol Against the Axe. I think I am having some sort of flare up because I am struggling. I have just been laying on the sofa, barely able to do anything. And I think my chronic illness, as I say, may be having a flare up. So I'm deciding I'm gonna go and roll myself a bath. And I think I'm actually gonna put down Parasol Against the Axe for now. I feel as though I need something just to escape in and get lost into, and I feel like with Parasol Against the Axe, it is quite a hard read at the minute, in the sense of you really sort of need to think about what's being said, and it's quite ambiguous, etc, etc. So I've got my stack, I think you can see over here, of books that I want to get to soon, and I think in that selection I have An Education of Malice by S.T. Gibson. I read A Diary of Blood quite a few years ago now by S.T. Gibson, and it was one of my favourite books, and I haven't picked up anything else from her so far, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and pick that up, wear myself a bath, and hopefully have some cozy time and give my body time to like rest and recover a little bit. I think the weather also isn't helping because it's quite a rainy, thundery, stormy day today, and I seem to be quite affected with my chronic illness when this happens, because yesterday was such a sunny, bright day. I'd love to hear if you also have this happen, which is quite sad because I do love a rainy day so much. I love like nothing more than going out on a walk in the rain and in the countryside. So yeah, that is going to be my plan, and I'll keep you updated on my page number goal and my thoughts of the reads. I feel so embarrassed. I am only a handful of pages into An Education of Malice, 13 pages, and I thought it was really familiar, and I was like, I swear I've read a book similar to this. And then I checked my story graph and realised I have read this book already, and I had just completely forgotten. Oh my goodness. I think I just didn't attribute the name to what I was reading, and it just seemed like a different book to me. I don't know why I put this on my pile of books I want to get to soon. I don't know what I was thinking. So I'm gonna have to pick another book. But do I count the 13 pages I've read? I don't know. I don't know what to do. That's really embarrassing. But I'm gonna pick up another book. I read this in November last year, and I did really enjoy it because I was already enjoying it on a reread, I technically class it as now. And it has like a dark academia in here. It kind of has lesbian relationships in here. I think I even made a reading vlog reading this book. That's really embarrassing. Oh, I have such awful memory. I have such awful memory. And this happens to me so many times. I'm like 20 pages through a book, and then I realise, wait, I've actually read this before, and then I'll remember everything that happened in said book. But oopsies, so I'm gonna go pick out another read now. I'm back from therapy and doing a little bit of shopping, grocery shopping, which was the only thing I needed to do today. And now I'm back to reading the Satsuma Complex. I'm in my cozies, currently staring out the window because it is raining, and it is the perfect ambiance, just staring at the trees and watching the rain pitter patter down. I need to read up to page 261 to reach my 150 page goal for today. I think I'm on page number. I'm on 131 pages so far, so a little bit to go, but I'm just going to sit here and read. I was already 111 pages in this one before picking it up, but I do this quite often because I read with my mood, and I have the privilege to do so, having and owning quite a few books. I do sometimes just pick up a book and I'm just not really gelling with it, so then I'll pop it back down and then pick it up eventually again. So yeah, I'm back to enjoying it again. I very much still remember this world. I feel like Bob Mortimer's got such a unique voice, and I feel like his humor really does shine through the different characters, and I can just imagine him talking in a specific way as to how our main character Gary talks, and just the kind of dialect he uses, I suppose, and just the little comments here and there that he makes, I feel as though is very representative from what I've seen from Bob's comedy, which I find quite endearing. So yeah, I'm just gonna continue reading and I'll update you on my thoughts as I progress. So I'm going to continue reading this one, but I'm actually going to put it down while I go up to bed because I'm quite tired today. I started reading Sinister Spring by Agatha Christie, which is one of the kind of quartets of seasonal short story books that has been released by her. And I started reading that on my phone because I borrowed it from BorrowBox from my library while I was waiting for therapy. So I'm going to download it onto my iPad as well and sit in bed and read that because I'm quite interested to read a load of short stories, I think, rather than something which is an actual story and requires a lot of mental energy. Hello, so it's now Wednesday. I have an update on yesterday, so I have some notes down. So my page count goal for yesterday was 150 pages. I ended up reading 39 pages of the Satsuma Complex, which I spoke to you about last night, and then I proceeded to get in bed and I borrowed Sinister Spring by Agatha Christie from my library and read that on my iPad, and I needed to read 111 pages of that one, and I indeed did that. I think I crossed the about 120 page mark. So yay, I completed my page goal for yesterday. What I'm loving most about this challenge is not the fact that I'm forcing myself to read, because I would never want to do that. I think it's just the fact that I'm purposely setting aside time to read because I have this sort of goal in mind, and it's making me sort of go above and beyond my pages because I've actually purposely set time in my day to read due to this challenge. Yeah, I don't know, it's kind of like making me question my whole kind of like thing around reading. Anyway, so now we're going to spin the wheel for Wednesday. I'm a little bit nervous because I've got a lot to do today, but at the end of the day, if I don't end up reaching the page count, it's just life, isn't it? Like it doesn't matter realistically, but it's just a fun little way to kind of add a little sprinkle of fun, I suppose, and make it a bit of a challenge and make reading something to just, I don't know, be fun and talk to you about books and page goals and everything. It's just something lighthearted. So let me screen record and then we can begin. I don't know why I'm a little bit nervous. Oh, okay, 250 pages. That's obviously the highest we've had so far this week, but I don't feel like that's too bad because I'm really enjoying Sinister Spring at the minute. I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to continue reading the Satsuma Complex. I don't really know how I feel about it. I feel like I was enjoying it, but it just kind of feels a bit difficult for me to want to continue reading it. I feel like I'm enjoying it when I'm in it, but at the same time it feels like a bit of a slog, and one of my main things is to just never force myself to read something. So yeah, I'm definitely going to continue Sinister Spring because I'm really enjoying the short story collection, and then perhaps I'll see what I have on my library and what's available on my library, because there might be things that I can take around on my iPad and read on there. So yes, let's commence Wednesday's reading of the page of 250 goals. So let's get to it. I know this is technically like a challenge reading vlog, but I wanted to just share with you, I got a little bit of book mail. First of all, I got something extremely exciting. So if you weren't aware, my boyfriend's parents own two wire-hair fox terriers, and I am a huge Agatha Christie lover, and Dumb Witness was actually dedicated to her own fox terrier. I think his name is Fred, and then his name is Bob, like in the novel. And I recently got an edition in which is, I think it's I want to say the Bloomsbury redone ones. I'll pop a picture up here. But for the longest time, my boyfriend's mum have been wanting the original first edition of it because it has a were-hare fox terrier on it. And I managed to find the edition and it is absolutely stunning. I found it from like an independent bookshop, and I'm going to show you the edition because I'm just so happy I managed to find it, and I'm so excited to gift it to her for her birthday. So this is it. It looks a bit dirty, but it's not. It's because it's in plastic wrapping, and I'm gonna keep it like that. But look how beautiful it is. It has the were-hare fox terrier on it. I think it's so pretty, and I'm so glad I was able to find this. I did actually order one for my own collection as well, as I was able to find two. But yeah, I'm so excited to give this to her, and I just love gifting people books, but especially a book like this, which I love the author so very much, and then it means something personal to someone else as well, so yay. But in terms of the books that I got myself, I first of all got The Diary of a Nobody, as I've been wanting this one for quite a long time. It's referenced in a lot of different books that I've read previously, so I'm very excited to read this one. Similarly, I got George Orwell on reading because I read Diary of a Bookseller and also Diary of a Tuscan Bookshop, I think, and both of these mentioned Orwell's essays on reading, and so I'm really intrigued to read this one. And then finally I got The Mysterious Bakery on Route de Paris, and this one is from The Story Collector and The Lost Bookshop author. I haven't read either of those, but I do love a mystery, so I'm hoping this is quite a good introduction to that because I have been intrigued by those other titles. So yeah, that's my kind of little mini book haul, so yay. Friends, so it is actually now Sunday and I have been decidedly awful at this challenge. So I think I last checked in with you on Wednesday or perhaps on Thursday, but I seemingly got unwell again, and so yesterday, Friday, I wasn't really able to do much in terms of actually filming, but I did continue to read. I'm not quite sure what point I stopped filming, but I'm going to wrap up now basically what I've read in the past few days, and I have been reading despite not having done the page count or the challenges. I also very excitedly, we went down to the seafront because in the summertime on Sundays down at the seafront we have a market and stall kind of collective thing where local businesses and kind of like independent local areas kind of get together in like a market and a stall, and they set up different shops and different crafts and things, in which it's always a joy to go down and experience that. And I found a mystery book kind of segment of one of the stalls, so I bought it and I'm going to enter that clip now. Do you want to rip it? Oh, oh, never heard of this one before. Because it was from an author that I've never read or heard of before, but I am quite new to the kind of detective mystery, so very intrigued by that. And then I'm going to do a little wrap up of what I've read so far this week, so yes, let's get to it. I also have a little bit of an update that I did get a copy of the Agatha Christie Dumb Witness version with the fox terrier on it for my own self as well as for my boyfriend's mum. I've managed to find a copy for myself as well, so I'm very excited about this. And then in terms of the other books that I finished and read, I finished Sinister Spring, which is a collection of short stories by Agatha Christie following a myriad of her different detectives. Poirot is quickly becoming one of my favourites from those short stories. I just find, obviously Miss Marple, but Poirot in specific just works very well with short stories, just with his whole kind of character and his personality and attitude. So I'm really enjoying the fact that that's making me love short stories from Poirot even more, because I hadn't really read much Poirot. And then I finished also the George Orwell on reading. These were just like mini essays on George Orwell's thoughts of books and reading and what it is to be a reader, in which this was a delight to read, and it makes me want to pick up the other essays by Orwell. And then I'm currently making my way through Diary of a Nobody that I received in the mail the other day. I am quite the way through that one, almost finished it, and it's quite fun because it literally is just a diary from someone, I think in Victoria story in England and they're just kind of going through their everyday life, and it's just a joy to read and experience. And I am realizing I quite enjoy like diary formatting. And then in terms of my other reads, I am making my way through a book which I borrowed from a friend at work, and that is Strong Female Character by Fern Brady. Now Fern Brady is a Scottish comedian, and she is autistic, and she was diagnosed as autistic quite late in life, and this is kind of her description, biography and memoir, I would say, on being autistic and being an autistic female specifically. As you can see, I'm not hugely far through this one, but I'm really enjoying it so far, and I just find Fern Brady so relatable, being an autistic person myself, and just yeah, I just love the commentary on here. The way that it's structured just really works well with my brain, and I'm just loving the voice of Fern Brady as well. And then I very briefly, in terms of like literally a couple pages in, started Counterattacks at 30. Now this is from the author of Almond, in which I absolutely loved, and I also adore this edition. And yeah, so I'm not far through that one in the slightest. Like I say, literally a handful of pages through. So yeah, I'm kind of picking up books here and there. I'm not really settling on one read at the minute, in which I quite enjoy because it allows me to kind of shift my focus, and I always find when I'm unwell that's what happens. I shift my focus a lot around different books. So yeah, there's my little update and my little wrap up from this challenge. I would say it's been semi-successful because I had a joy of doing it, but like I say, sadly I did get on well through it, and I would say I would do this again. I quite liked having that challenge there, and it kind of forcing me almost to put actual time aside to read and feel like I'd read, even though I do normally and naturally. I feel like I almost made it a purpose in my day to do that, and it felt more of a conscious effort rather than just something that I do normally. So anyway, I just want to say thank you ever so much for watching, and I hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you have a wonderful day or night. Until next time, bye.